Hey everyone! Tonight we're drifting into the heart of 19th century Siam to witness the surprisingly tranquil daily ceremonies within the magnificent royal court. Imagine a world where every movement is steeped in tradition, every sound carries meaning, and the air itself hums with a quiet, ancient energy. We're talking about a level of meticulousness and calm that makes our modern hustle look like a toddler's tantrum in a library. Honestly, with the elaborate protocols and the sheer number of ways to unintentionally offend someone of high rank, you probably wouldn't survive a day without causing a minor diplomatic incident. I mean, accidentally using the wrong royal vocabulary. You might as well have just told the king his sacred white elephant looks a bit beige. So, before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. It helps more than you know. And, as always, I'd love to see where you're tuning in from and what time it is in your corner of the world. It's always fascinating to see our little community of night owls and history buffs. Now, dim those lights, maybe get a fan going for some gentle white noise, and let's begin tonight's journey together. You find yourself in Krung Thep Mahanakhon, the City of Angels, known to us more commonly as Bangkok. It's the mid-19th century. The air, thick with the tropical humidity of Siam, carries a symphony of unfamiliar sounds. The gentle lapping of water from the Chao Phraya River, the distant, melodic chanting from a nearby Wat, the calls of vendors from boats laden with colorful fruits and fragrant spices. The sun is just beginning to paint the sky in hues of soft orange and pale gold, promising another warm day. As you approach the Grand Palace, its sheer scale is breathtaking. Tiered, ornate roofs, glittering with gold leaf and vibrant mosaics, pierce the morning sky. The white walls, studded with watchtowers, enclose a world unto itself, a city within a city. You feel a frisson of anticipation, a touch of trepidation. This isn't just a place. It's the very epicenter of the Siamese kingdom, a realm governed by ancient customs and profound spiritual beliefs. You pass through the imposing gates into the outer court, a bustling area with various ministries and state buildings. Guards in colorful uniforms move with a practiced, unhurried discipline. Their attire is striking, a blend of traditional Siamese fanung, a kind blank rel nupener no-referrer of sarong, and more militaristic tunics, perhaps hinting at the subtle Western influences beginning to touch the kingdom under the forward-thinking King Mongkut, or Rama IV. Even here, a certain decorum is palpable. Voices are kept low, movements are respectful. You're very aware that you are a witness, an observer, in a place where every detail matters. Making your way further, perhaps with a guide who navigates the complex protocols with an ease you can only marvel at, you edge towards the precincts of the middle court, closer to the king's personal residence and the ceremonial heart of the palace. The architecture becomes even more elaborate here, the gardens more meticulously manicured. The scent of jasmine and frangipani hangs heavy in the air, a sweet counterpoint to the faint, earthy aroma of incense. Your first glimpse of a truly royal ceremony is about to unfold. It's an early morning ritual, one that underscores the deep symbiosis between the monarchy and Buddhism, the spiritual backbone of Siam. You see a procession of saffron-robed monks, their heads bowed, walking with a serene, almost ethereal grace. They carry alms bowls, ready to receive their daily sustenance. This is the merit-making act of offering food, a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, and here it's performed with regal significance. The king himself, or high-ranking members of the royal family, will present these offerings. It's a powerful visual, the earthly sovereign, showing deep reverence to the spiritual order. This daily act wasn't just symbolic. It was a fundamental way the monarchy reinforced its legitimacy and its role as the chief patron and defender of the faith, a tradition unbroken for centuries. You watch as courtiers, dressed in fine silks, move with practiced precision. They might be carrying trays laden with carefully prepared foods, rice, curries, fruits, and sweets. The level of artistry in the presentation is astonishing. Fruits are carved into intricate flowers, banana leaves are folded into beautiful containers called krathongs. It's a feast for the eyes, a silent testament to the devotion and resources poured into these daily acts. One rather quirky detail you might notice is the almost reverential treatment of the royal elephants, often stabled nearby. These magnificent creatures, particularly the auspicious white elephants, were considered symbols of royal power and prosperity, and they lived lives of considerable comfort, sometimes adorned with their own jewels and silks. You can't help but think they probably ate better than some minor nobility in other parts of the world. Imagine having royal elephant groomer on your resume. Talk about a specialized field. Now, as you observe this serene ritual, it's worth noting that historians still debate the precise nature and accessibility of such ceremonies to outsiders during this period. Some Western envoys and visitors penned detailed accounts of court life, yet others lamented their limited access, often confined to the more public areas or carefully stage-managed audiences. The level of insight gained often depended heavily on the individual's diplomatic standing, their personal rapport with Siamese officials, or even the specific political currents of the time. Were they seeing the everyday reality, or a carefully curated performance for foreign eyes? The truth likely lies somewhere in between, a tantalizing blend of openness and closely guarded sanctums. The air is calm, the movements measured. There are no raised voices, no hurried gestures. It's a world away from the burgeoning industrial cities of Europe or America in the same century. Here, time seems to flow differently, measured not by the ticking of a factory clock, but by the rhythm of ancient rituals and the cycles of nature. The intricate etiquette is mind-boggling. You realize that simply knowing where to stand, how low to bow, the crab, a full prostration, and when to avert your gaze is an art form in itself. One wrong move, a gesture misunderstood, and you could cause deep offense. It's a bit like trying to assemble flat-pack furniture in the dark, except the instructions are in a language you don't speak, and if you mess up, you might get more than just a wobbly bookshelf. You notice the distinct lack of loud conversation. Communication often happens through subtle gestures, a slight inclination of the head, the specific way offerings are presented. It's a silent language of respect and hierarchy that everyone here understands implicitly. As the monks depart, their bowls filled, a sense of peace settles even more deeply over the courtyard. The ceremony concludes not with a grand flourish, but with a quiet dispersal, a return to the other myriad tasks that keep the vast machinery of the royal court functioning. You are left with a profound sense of the tranquility that can underpin even the most powerful of institutions. This isn't the drama of European courts often depicted in popular culture, filled with overt intrigue and shouted commands. This is something else, a power that expresses itself through serenity, through an unwavering adherence to tradition, and a deep, abiding faith. The day has only just begun, and you sense that many more such quiet, meaningful rituals are yet to unfold within these hallowed walls. The gentle sway of a nearby palm frond seems to beckon you further into this fascinating, peaceful world. Okay, let's settle back deeper into the tranquil yet intricate world of the Siamese inner court, the Nai, allowing its unique rhythms to envelop us further. We were just contemplating the serene end of the afternoon, the golden light bathing the palace grounds. The day's structured activities might be winding down, but the life of the inner court is a continuous, flowing current. Let's imagine the educational hum that often filled certain pavilions. The education of young princesses and ladies of the court was a serious affair, designed to cultivate refinement, intellect, and a deep understanding of Siamese culture. Elder, respected women of the court, often highly educated themselves, would serve as teachers, imparting knowledge of classical literature, perhaps tales from the Ramakien, the Thai version of the Ramayana. Its epic verses filled with heroism, romance, and profound moral lessons. They would study Buddhist scriptures, absorbing the tenets of compassion, mindfulness, and detachment, concepts that perhaps took on a unique resonance within the opulent yet rule-bound confines of the palace. And of course, there were the unwritten textbooks, the exhaustive manuals of courtly etiquette, learning how to move, how to speak, how to address every individual according to their precise rank. This was a curriculum in itself. It was like an advanced degree in social navigation, where the final exam could occur at any unexpected moment. Imagine trying to remember whether your bow to Great Aunt Supatra, The king's third cousin, twice removed, required a dip of 3 centimeters or 5. Get it wrong, and you might not fail a test, but you'd certainly feel the subtle chill of disapproval, which in this environment could be far worse. Beyond these classical and social studies, practical skills were also imparted. Young women learned the basics of household management, crucial for those who might one day oversee their own substantial retinues, and perhaps even basic knowledge of herbal remedies, a common and respected form of medicine. Let's listen more closely to the artistic pulse of the Nai. The music you hear isn't just background noise, it's an integral part of life. Small ensembles might gather, the delicate percussive notes of the kim blending with the soulful strains of the sodwang, a higher-pitched fiddle, and the rhythmic guidance of hand cymbals or small drums. These weren't just performances, they were conversations in melody, expressions of joy, sorrow, or contemplation. A young woman might spend hours perfecting a single complex piece, her dedication a testament to the value placed on artistic mastery. It's said that some court musicians were so skilled they could evoke the sound of rainfall or the whisper of the wind through bamboo with their instruments. And the dance, the classical Thai dance, or Kon and Lakon Nai, dance drama enacted by women in the court, is a universe of storytelling in itself. The training was, and is, incredibly rigorous, often starting from a very young age when bodies are most supple. Imagine young girls diligently practicing the precise flex of a wrist, the gentle arch of a finger, the subtle tilt of a head, each movement part of a vast lexicon of gestures that could convey complex narratives and emotions without a single word uttered. They were transforming their bodies into instruments of storytelling, their performances not just entertainment, but a living repository of myth, legend, and royal history. Their dedication makes my attempts at following a YouTube yoga tutorial look like a clumsy interpretive dance of a confused giraffe. The craftsmanship we touched upon deserves a closer look too. When you imagine the silk weaving, picture the looms themselves, often made of polished teak, and the threads, not just any silk, but the finest, lustrous strands, sometimes dyed with natural pigments derived from exotic plants and minerals, creating hues of breathtaking depth and vibrancy. Gold and silver threads were often incorporated, creating brocades of unimaginable richness, garments that would shimmer and glow in the soft candlelight of the palace evenings. These weren't just clothes, they were statements of rank, artistry, and wealth. Similarly, the floral arrangements, the phuang malai, went beyond simple decoration. Specific flowers carried symbolic meanings, and the complexity of a garland could convey messages of respect, love, or congratulation. It was a fragrant language, understood by all within the court. Their craft projects weren't just for passing the time, they were producing museum-quality art. While we're over here feeling accomplished, if we managed to assemble a piece of IKEA furniture without having leftover screws, life in the Nai wasn't solely about formal duties and artistic pursuits. There was also space for leisure, for the cultivation of friendships and, undoubtedly, the subtle currents of social dynamics. Imagine small groups of women gathering in a shaded courtyard, sharing stories, perhaps engaging in a lively game of makruk, its strategic depths offering a quiet, intellectual challenge. Or picture them tending to small, personal gardens, coaxing fragrant blossoms from the rich Siamese earth. They might have kept small songbirds in ornate cages, their cheerful chirping adding to the gentle soundscape, or even playful cats and dogs, companions in their gilded world. Storytelling sessions would have been a cherished pastime, especially as dusk settled. Elder women, rich with memories and knowledge of court history and folklore, would recount tales of past kings and queens, of mythical heroes and mischievous spirits. This oral tradition was vital, a way of passing down wisdom, entertainment, and a sense of shared identity. It's quite possible that within the secure walls of the inner court, a specific genre of ghost stories or tales of palace spirits might have flourished, told with a delicious shiver of excitement and the requisite rituals to ensure no actual spirits decided to join the audience. You know, a little sprinkle of blessed water here, a softly whispered protective mantra there, just in case. When the king decided to spend time in the inner court, it wasn't always a formal state visit. While protocol was ever present, There were also moments of relative informality, especially with his children or most favored consorts. He might listen to his daughters, play music, or consult with his elder wives on matters of the household, or even on more subtle political undercurrents they might have perceived. His children, the young princes and princesses, would have experienced a unique upbringing, surrounded by the affection and care of their mothers and a multitude of attendants, yet always aware of their father's supreme position. His visits would be a mixture of paternal affection and the subtle reinforcement of his role as the ultimate authority. One can imagine the king using these interactions not just for familial connection, but also as a way to subtly gauge the atmosphere of the Nai, a place that, while secluded, was still a microcosm of the kingdom's elite. The spiritual life within the Nai was also rich and personal. While the grand state ceremonies involving Buddhism were prominent, individual women would have maintained their own private shrines within their quarters. Here, they would make daily offerings of flowers, incense, and food, engaging in personal prayer and meditation. This personal piety was a quiet but constant thread in their lives. It's important to remember the wonderfully syncretic nature of Siamese belief systems. Alongside the core tenets of Theravada Buddhism, elements of Brahmanism, Hinduism, were deeply integrated into court ritual, and animist beliefs in local spirits and guardian deities also held significance. So, a lady of the court might offer prayers to the Buddha for enlightenment, while also making small offerings to the spirit of the banyan tree in her garden to ensure well-being, a seamless blend of spiritual practices that reflected the rich tapestry of Siamese faith. And what about food? The royal kitchens within the inner court were places of extraordinary culinary artistry. The dishes served were not just sustenance, they were sophisticated creations, designed to please the most refined palates. Intricate fruit carvings, complex curries with dozens of ingredients, delicate sweets and snacks. The range was vast. Certain dishes might have been reserved exclusively for the king or the highest-ranking royals. While grand banquets were a feature of court life, daily meals within the Nai could range from private dining for those of higher status to more communal arrangements for attendants and servants. Still, even the everyday fare was likely of a standard that would make our most indulgent takeout feel like a very humble snack. Their leftovers probably had more intricate flavor profiles than our planned three-course meals. As we delve deeper into this world, the debate about the gilded cage versus female agency becomes even more fascinating. Consider a clever consort, skilled in poetry and music, who captures the king's intellectual curiosity as well as his affection. Through her wit and wisdom, shared in the quiet intimacy of the inner court, might she not subtly influence his thinking on certain matters, or advocate for her family, or even promote a particular artistic endeavor? Or think of a high-ranking female official within the Nai, managing a vast budget and hundreds of staff. Her administrative skills, her ability to navigate the complex social hierarchies and maintain order, represent a significant form of power, even if it's exercised within a defined sphere. They weren't storming battlements, but they were shaping a kingdom from within, in ways that were perhaps quieter, more nuanced, but no less impactful for it. The afternoon light continues to soften, the shadows lengthening. Perhaps a cooling breeze rustles the leaves, carrying the distant sound of evening prayers beginning in a nearby royal temple. The women of the inner court might be transitioning now, preparing for the evening. Garments might be changed, fresh flowers woven into their hair. The atmosphere remains one of measured calm, but beneath it, there's a constant, subtle hum of life, of purpose, of connection. It's a world of extraordinary detail, where beauty and order were not just aspired to, but meticulously cultivated in every aspect of existence. And as you continue to observe, you realize that this tranquility isn't emptiness. It's a fullness, a richness of experience that is simply expressed with a quiet, profound grace. Okay, let us allow ourselves to sink even more profoundly into the hushed embrace of the Siamese royal court as night fully unfurls its silken banner. The day, with its sunlit rituals and defined duties, has gently surrendered to a time of softer energies, of introspection and quietude. The flickering oil lamps we envisioned now cast an even more enchanting spell. Imagine the intricate dance of light and shadow upon the carved wooden panels of a pavilion, the reliefs of mythical nagas and graceful kinaris seeming to come alive in the gentle undulations of the flame. Along the long, cool verandas, these lamps create pools of warm light, interspersed with deep, velvety shadows, inviting a slower pace, a more contemplative mood. Perhaps within the inner court, in a designated hall or a more private chamber of a high-ranking lady, the evening chants take on a particularly intimate quality. It might not be a grand formal assembly, but a smaller gathering of women, their voices blending in the ancient Pali verses, the sound a soft balm to the soul, intended to bring peace, not just to their immediate surroundings, but to the entire palace, the kingdom, and all sentient beings. The air would be thick with the scent of sandalwood incense, its purifying smoke coiling towards the high, ornate ceilings. Storytelling in these evening hours would shift from the grand epic narratives perhaps shared in daylight to more personal tales, moral fables, or even romantic poetry that resonated with the quiet intimacy of the night. An elder woman, her face a roadmap of wisdom and experience, might recount stories passed down through generations, her voice a gentle cadence in the stillness. Or perhaps a gifted lady of the court would share her own compositions, her verses painting images of longing, of devotion, or the subtle beauties of nature observed from within the palace walls. Musical offerings, too, would adopt a more subdued tone. The plaintive notes of a solo klui, flute, might drift through an open window, its melody as delicate as a moonbeam, or the soft strumming of a krajapi, a type of lute, accompanying a softly sung lullaby. These weren't performances for an audience, but shared expressions of culture and feeling, woven into the very fabric of their nightly existence. The symphony of the palace at night deserves a more attentive ear. Beyond the ever-present crickets and geckos, listen for the distant, rhythmic beat of a large temple drum from a royal wat just outside the main palace walls, perhaps marking the watches of the night or a specific late-night monastic ritual. From the lush palace gardens, a nightjar might utter its distinctive call, or you might hear the rustle of a small unseen creature moving through the undergrowth, a civet, perhaps, or a wandering mongoose. The coolness of the polished teak floors beneath bare feet, if one were to pace a quiet corridor, or the soft, almost imperceptible brush of a fine silk curtain stirred by a phantom breeze passing through an open doorway. These subtle tactile sensations would add another layer to the rich sensory tapestry of the night. Let's also revisit the lives of the attendants and servants as they navigate these later hours. Once their duties to the royals are complete, their own small worlds within the vast palace complex would come into focus. In their simpler quarters, perhaps clustered around smaller courtyards, the atmosphere would be more relaxed, though still respectful. You might imagine them mending their garments by the light of a shared oil lamp, their needles moving with practiced skill, or quietly conversing about the day's events, sharing news or small concerns in hushed tones. Their version of a late-night snack wouldn't be a clandestine raid on the royal icebox, if such a thing even existed in a widely accessible form back then, but perhaps a piece of candied fruit saved from an earlier meal, or a shared cup of herbal tea, savored in the brief respite before sleep claimed them. A strong sense of community would undoubtedly exist among those who lived and worked so closely together, a network of shared experiences and mutual support within the grandeur that surrounded them. Their laughter, if it occurred, would be soft, their disputes quickly and quietly resolved, for harmony was prized at all levels of the palace hierarchy. Considering the king's nocturnal hours, the solitude he might have sought takes on a deeper resonance. The weight of absolute authority, the constant demands of statecraft, the intricate balancing act of managing a kingdom. These are burdens that perhaps could only be truly processed in the profound stillness of the night. Away from the eyes and ears of the court, he might have allowed himself moments of unshielded reflection, consulting not just astrological charts, but also the compass of his own conscience. These private hours were likely not just for rest, but for a different kind of royal work, the quiet sifting of thoughts, the formulation of strategies, the simple human need to connect with one's own inner self before facing another day of regal responsibilities. The peace of his chambers would be paramount, a sanctuary carefully guarded to allow for this crucial period of mental and spiritual recalibration. The fascinating interplay between tranquility and control, which we've touched upon, invites further contemplation. Could this pervasive serenity also be a sophisticated form of social cohesion, a subtle yet powerful mechanism for maintaining order? When every gesture is prescribed, every interaction governed by ancient etiquette, and the atmosphere itself discourages loud or disruptive behavior, it naturally channels energies in a certain way. It's the ultimate societal keep calm and carry on, but elevated to an art form, reinforced by spiritual belief and 1,000 years of unbroken tradition. Yet one must also wonder if this tranquility was experienced uniformly. A high-ranking princess, secure in her status and surrounded by comfort, might genuinely find profound peace in this ordered world. But what of a young attendant, far from her village, navigating the complexities of palace life with far less agency? Her experience of this tranquility might be interwoven with a constant vigilance, a careful adherence to rules to avoid missteps. The serenity, for some, might have been a beautifully embroidered cloak over a life of unyielding duty. Indeed, the psychological atmosphere must have been incredibly nuanced. While the ideal was harmony, human nature, with its inherent ambitions, jealousies, and anxieties, surely still found expression, albeit in more subtle and veiled forms than in more boisterous courts. Perhaps a slightly too long pause in conversation, a glance held a moment more than necessary, a subtly critical comment about another's floral arrangement. These might have been the subdued weapons in a court that prized outward calm. It makes one appreciate the incredible emotional discipline that must have been cultivated. Were they all masters of stoic reserve, or was there a hidden world of carefully managed emotions bubbling just beneath that placid surface? Perhaps it was a bit of both, a complex human reality playing out within an extraordinary setting. As the moon climbs higher, casting its silvery luminescence over the tiered roofs and quiet courtyards, the grand palace seems to hold its breath. The air is cool now, carrying the faintest scent of damp earth from the gardens and the lingering fragrance of incense. Even the most dedicated storyteller in the inner court has likely finished her tale. The last notes of the Clui have faded into the silence, and the lamps are being extinguished one by one, leaving only the moonlight and the stars to stand sentinel. The day's long, slow exhalation is complete. The entire magnificent complex, a universe unto itself, is finally succumbing to the deep peace of the night. Each carved deity, each sleeping royal, each dreaming servant is enveloped in this profound stillness. The power, the history, the intricate social web, all are at rest, gathering strength for the dawn that will inevitably arrive. The gentle rhythm of this ancient place, its quiet nocturnal heartbeat, now synchronizes with your own slowing pulse. The layers of detail, the vividness of the scenes, begin to soften, to meld into a comforting and peaceful haze, preparing you for your own journey into rest. Now, as the final wisps of our journey through the Siamese royal court begin to fade, let yourself sink deeper and deeper into that pervasive feeling of calm. The meticulous order, the gentle fading sounds, the fragrant night air. All these elements have woven a tapestry of unparalleled tranquility. Allow the profound peace of the palace at its deepest hour of rest to seep fully into your own awareness. Imagine the silvery moonlight tracing the edges of the ornate rooftops, the almost imperceptible whisper of a night breeze through the ancient banyan trees in the royal gardens, the distant, soothing echo of a temple bell from across the sleeping city. There are absolutely no demands on your attention here, no tasks that need completing, no problems that require solving. There is only this moment, this gentle, pervasive calm of a world steeped in ancient tradition, and a profound, quiet grace. Let your body become wonderfully heavy, your muscles completely soft and yielding. Release any lingering tension you might be holding in your forehead, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, your hands. With each slow, easy breath out, feel yourself letting go even more completely, drifting further and further into a state of deep, effortless relaxation. The images of the day, the saffron robes of the monks, the shimmering silks of the court ladies, the intricate carvings and the golden spires reaching for the heavens, all begin to blur and dissolve, becoming soft, gentle, dreamlike impressions. The subtle sounds of the palace are fading away now, receding into a comfortable distance, replaced by the quiet, even rhythm of your own breathing. In and out, slow and steady. Feel the gentle rise and fall, a natural soothing cadence of profound rest. There is only stillness now, only an enveloping peace. You are safe, you are comfortable, and you are surrounded by a deep and abiding sense of calm. The tranquility of the Siamese night is now completely your own, a soft blanket for your mind. Good night.